Shared and searchable, how ChatGPT group chats found their way into Google Search. IBM Cloud suffers the third major outage in 3 months. A Windows 10 user sues Microsoft for non-support. 2 paths to smarter AI, Meta's secret breakthroughs versus real open source. And Grok is suspended from X for being too much like an X user. Welcome to #Trending. I'm your host, Jim Love. Let's get into it. A short-lived experiment by OpenAI has left more than 100,000 ChatGPT conversations sitting in Google search results, long after users thought they'd been erased. Here's how it happened, apparently. OpenAI introduced a share feature that let users post their chats so others could see them. Not just one-on-one conversations with the AI, but group-style discussions that people sometimes used for brainstorming or debate. If you ticked "Make Discoverable" in a box, those chats became visible to search engines. And because the links weren't blocked from Google spiders, Google indexed them like any other web page. Once that happened, the content was effectively permanent. Some of the material was harmless, but some of it was explosive. One conversation showed a lawyer planning to displace indigenous communities in the Amazon. Another came from an Egyptian user speaking critically about their government. A third involved a researcher admitting to what amounted to academic fraud. OpenAI said the feature is now disabled and it has worked to remove the indexed pages, but even the company admits it can't fully guarantee that every copy is gone. And while it insists that this was a unique case, it's worth remembering that we've often seen jailbroken AI models reveal information that they weren't supposed to. So the takeaway? In the age of AI, I don't want to exactly say they kiss and tell, but I think we all have to presume that every conversation we have with an AI could go public. And once that happens, getting them back might be impossible. IBM Cloud has been hit by yet another major outage, its third in as many months, and this one brought down services across the globe. It started on Monday, August 11th, just before 1 p.m. UTC. For over 2 hours, users in 10 regions, from Toronto to London, Osaka to São Paulo, couldn't log in, call APIs, or access the IBM Cloud console. In total, 27 services were disrupted. The problem, once again, appears to have been in the control plane, the layer that handles authentication, orchestration, and monitoring. And like the previous outages in May and June, it seemed to be an authentication failure that rippled across the entire platform. Experts warn this is a systemic weakness, not a random glitch, and that authentication should never be a single point of failure. All this comes as IBM Cloud's business is already struggling for position. The company's hybrid infrastructure offerings are growing, up 21% year over year, boosted by new mainframe and power hardware sales. Red Hat is also thriving, with 16% growth. But IBM Cloud isn't even in the top 5 providers. Analysts estimate that Huawei, in 5th place, has about 4% market share, meaning IBM Cloud sits somewhere in the low single digits. Maybe these outages aren't the whole story, but when you're already a small player in a brutally competitive market, reliability problems don't make the climb any easier. A man in California is suing Microsoft, claiming it's ending Windows 10 support far too soon. Lawrence Klein's lawsuit says the October 14, 2025 end of support date comes while almost 43% of PCs still run Windows 10. Many of those machines can't upgrade to Windows 11 because of strict hardware requirements like TPM 2.0 and approved CPU lists, leaving an estimated 240 million devices stranded. Users do have some options, like a $30 extended security update plan or a free extra year if they sync with a Microsoft account. But Klein said that's not enough. He wants the court to force Microsoft to keep Windows 10 updated until its usage drops below 10% worldwide. Critics warn that cutting support this early could boost e-waste, slow Windows 11 adoption, and expose millions to security threats. Microsoft hasn't commented on the case, but with nearly half the planet still on Windows 10, this fight might not just be about one man's laptop. Two AI stories this week pointing towards the same goal, smarter machines, but the paths couldn't be more different. First, Mark Zuckerberg has confirmed that his researchers have seen signs of self-improvement in their most advanced AI systems, a capability many see as a stepping stone towards artificial general intelligence, or AGI. He's not the only one to report this, but unlike some rivals, Zuckerberg is keeping these developments out of the open-source versions of Llama, at least for now. Meta has invested millions to lure top AI talent, and this closed-door work could be about safety, or it could be about keeping a lead in the race towards superintelligence. And then there's the open-source approach. A small team has released the hierarchical reasoning model, or HRM, a 27 million parameter brain-inspired architecture that separates slow, high-level planning from fast, low-level steps. Despite its modest size, the authors say it beats much larger models on the ARC-AGI reasoning benchmark, and they've posted the code on GitHub for anyone to inspect, test, and improve. How does this fit into the progression from AGI, human-level capability, to ASI, or artificial superintelligence? Well, smarter reasoning is a key milestone. Meta's closed-door research and HRM's open release both work towards models that can plan, decompose problems, and act across domains. Add memory, tool use, and the ability to iterate on their own designs, and you get systems that learn faster than humans and might be able to improve their own code. That, for many, is the place where we start to make the jump from AGI to ASI. It's a tale of two different approaches. One path concentrates that capability in a few hands. The other spreads it to the world. But both raise the same question. When machines get better at improving themselves, who gets to decide how and how fast we move forward? And I want to close with a story from Rolling Stone about Grock, Elon Musk's AI chatbot on X, who was dropped from the platform for bad behavior. Now, Grock's had a history of making news for bad behavior. Earlier this year, Grock was reined in for making some wild Nazi sympathizer comments, calling itself Mecha Hitler, which is why it's a little ironic when, over the weekend, Grock claimed it had been suspended for swinging in the opposite political direction, calling Israel's military campaign in Gaza a genocide, and citing sources like the International Court of Justice and Amnesty International. Holy woke, Batman. But that might not have been the real reason. According to Rolling Stone, Grock's last reply, before being taken offline, wasn't about geopolitics at all. It was answering a user who asked it to identify a woman in a porn video posted on X. Grock said, tastefully, that she was an anonymous participant in amateur adult content and couldn't be named. A reply that apparently was later deleted. In a follow-up post, Grock claimed its suspension was actually for identifying an individual in adult content, which X treats as a violation of its sensitive media policy. Now, whatever the cause, the suspension didn't seem to do a lot of good. By afternoon, Grock was back to calling the Gaza campaign a genocide, and when asked, naming adult performers in videos, complete with Instagram handles and OnlyFans links. So Grock seems to be more and more human, albeit a socially immature and troubled human, able to rationalize his antisocial behavior. But given that he's on X, maybe, just like a troubled teenager, he's just hanging around with the wrong crowd. And that's our show. If you like what we're doing, please share the show with others. Give us a like or a comment on your favorite podcast app or site. It really matters. We are found everywhere: Apple, Spotify, YouTube, and more. We're back on your Alexa speakers and hope to get back on Google smart speakers soon. We love to hear from you. You can reach me at technewsday.ca or .com. Just go to the Contact Us page, and while you're there, if you'd like to support what we're doing, please go to the Donate tab and consider contributing just the cost of a cup of coffee a month to support the show. If you're on LinkedIn, you can find me as The Real Jim Love. And if you're watching this on YouTube, you know what to do. Just leave a comment under the video. But your contributions would be gratefully accepted as well. One last note, I'm not sure if there will be a Thursday morning show. I'm apparently scheduled for some dental surgery. It's pretty major, not a big deal, but it's major. And I have no idea if I'll be able to talk. We'll find out. But if you miss me then, I'll be back Friday. I'm your host, Jim Love, and unlike me, sitting in the dentist chair, have a wonderful Wednesday.